I listened to your episode of Let's Talk About Sets too.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah.
And you guys you didn't really dive into like what's funny about it. You talked a little bit about the performance and the fact that you were following Leslie Jones, which is you really reset the room well.
Oh, dude, I appreciate that. She did an hour. So it's like she did an hour. So it's hard to follow anyone after an hour. But fortunately, like you just have to definitely can't take the stage with trying to have the same amount of energy. First off, as her, just specifically her. But second off, like, whatever that comedian's energy is, certainly if they're like a famous headliner, if like Stephen Wright did an hour, you'd probably have to come on stage with like the inverse of his energy. Mm-hmm. So maybe being a little bit bigger and more emotive would probably be effective. But certainly for her, it was just like, because I could tell on that show, I remember like people were just chatting amongst themselves, like to start, because they just watched like a SNL star do it. Like that became her hour special that she later did for Netflix. Anyway, yeah, weird experience, but that's why stand-up's great. Is you just, the host before it was like at backstage is like, hey, who wants to go on after Leslie? And for me as a comic, I was like 100% yes, because like, that's what we're trying to do here. It's like we're trying to get better, and like, how often do I get to try and follow a very famous, very incredibly good stand-up comedian?
Right. Challenge accepted.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't eat my face.
I mean, and that's something that you're going to have to deal with too, being in New York, like, at clubs, somebody's going to drop in and all of a sudden you're having to reset the room behind like Louis or, Leslie Jones or Chappelle or whatever.
Man, I would love. Oh, dude, I'd love to be on Louis' show. A show with Louis.
Imagine being like, ew, no, I don't want to follow her. Like, you might as well quit. I don't know. What are you trying to not get better, or
like that's no 100%. That's like, isn't that the point? Is like we should try and challenge ourselves. It's like if I fortunately went well, and I think I in that room it succeeded, but if I had done something wrong, like there was also enough people where it's a winnable room, kind of no matter what. Like there was like 150 people in that room. So there'll be enough people paying attention for when you say something pretty funny for laughs to occur that will make the talkers shut up and go, oh, wait, something else is worth watching. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I could see a lot of people talking right after her set, just being like, oh, that was great. Or just talking and like kind of writing off whoever's next.
Totally, yeah. That's exactly what it was. Is they were just like, I think, chatting amongst themselves, be like, oh, holy shit. Like, she's also who they came to see. Like, she was advertised on the show.
Oh, okay. I just kind of felt like it might have been a drop-in, but then you know how drop-ins are. People can go forever and no one's going to stop them. And you shouldn't.
Yeah, like the club's not going to stop. No one's going to go, oh my God, we saw Bret Raybould. They're like, who, what?
Yeah, Chappelle dropped in, but we only gave him 5 minutes because we didn't want the show to go long. So
we gave him the light after 5.
Yeah. What a dumb idea.
Well, doesn't Chappelle do doesn't he do like hilarities?
No.
Does he not do a Cleveland? Because he's in Ohio for life. Okay,
he's in Dayton, which is like an hour north of Cincinnati.
Oh, okay, yeah. I've heard like a joke. I don't know which comic, but I was talking to some comedian who had started in Ohio. I think maybe Cincinnati in this case. Because he was telling me that every comedian from that city uses as their credit that are we recording, by the way, right now?
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
cool.
we'll cut. I mean, we cut stuff, so we
cool. Because I was gonna be like, I ain't giving away the good juice unless this is gone on wax.
Okay.
No, I'm gonna be uninteresting unless we're recording. In which case, I'll try to talk. No, but he was telling me that every comic from that area, their credit is open for Dave Chappelle. Mm-hmm. Because Dave Chappelle one time dropped in and they were also on the show. So it's like, oh yeah, that counts. I opened for him. I don't blame it.
That's a stretch.
Yeah, it's a bit of a stretch.
It's like saying, yeah, I had sex with a porn star. Well, more, she made me come, but
yeah.
Yeah.
It's it's a little like, all right, well, sure you opened for him. You really made it sound like he took you on the road.
Yeah.
If that's how it works, like I have a good list, but I don't use that list because it's not real.
Right. Right. If I get booked to open for said comic, I will put that on my
yeah. Oh, that's totally reasonable. Yeah. Which you guys work like you guys work like hilarities there, and I mean, what's it like doing stand up in Cleveland
now or just before? I
suppose before, because now it's like, are any of us even comedians?
Right. Hilarities is
and former stand-up comedian.
Yeah, current and former, whatever that means. No, Cleveland's it's a good local scene. The club is great. Comedians are, it's pretty widely regarded as one of the better clubs in the country. Like,
they laud themselves as top 10.
Yeah,
which I think might be accurate, considering like the space and just the kinds of acts they get in there. I would say that's pretty accurate.
Yeah. Normand was just there. I mean, they get great comics.
Yeah, I for some reason, like, and all my stand up on the road has been like kind of like one-nighters that I've either helped produce, or my brother, who's also a comic, has produced, or with some occasional like club work here and there. But most of my work on the road has just been like self-produced stuff. But for whatever reason, even I know of hilarities like in Cleveland. Like I don't know if some comics have recorded their albums there or something, but I just know it's like, you just like vaguely know it's well regarded. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good room, and they take care of the comics too. The owner and the staff are really good about it. And now, I mean, they put so much money into Tom Papa recorded. Okay, Jeremy is saying they invested a lot of money in like COVID protocols. So I mean, they have like an HVAC system that circulates new air in, and this is all. Yeah, this is going to be the most exciting part of the podcast as we're talking about. Like,
it's kind of. I'm like, that's interesting to me. I don't know.
Yeah. So that's the reason why I decided to go there, because I haven't been on stage in 2 months. I was like, I'm not just going to do bar shows. I'm not going to do like open mics for free. And so when the club comes knocking, I'm interested. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll leave my house.
Yeah. That's definitely good work.
Yeah. I think that's a standard that everybody should have. Like, as much as, I mean, there's a couple of open mics that are going on right now, but they're not like following, protocol at all. Everybody's pretty packed in, and
sure.
Yeah, I'm not, and people are wearing masks.
Condoms ran them out.
Yeah.
The mic condoms are gone. They ran out. So
yeah. It does feel a sense of like, like it's tough because you've always been wanting to feel like you're only ever like doing it and improving and all that. But at the same time, part of me is like, I just can't mentally justify to myself to like, I don't need to do open mics right now. There's a pandemic. It's okay. I'll be as good of a comic as I would have become without doing, these few open mics this month. That like I'm not 5 open mics during a pandemic away from achieving my true potential as a comic. Like, we'll be it'll be okay. Like, I'll be all right.
Yeah.
But if there is slightly better work, it's a little more professional. Like, I've done some outdoor shows during in like barns and stuff, whereas me or my brother were like co-headlining that. It's like, oh, I'm doing 40 minutes. Okay, that's like a real show. And for me, it's like, okay, it's also outdoor, so some of the potential guilt is assuaged in that way.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm opening for Ryan Reese and Joe Mackey, and
nice.
They're talking about there's like secret shows in New York that are like in the back room of places, or like in like enclosed patios, so it's still technically outside. So if they got busted, they wouldn't get in trouble, but still like running that risk.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Tell me, David, how do you get busted but not in trouble?
I mean, like, they won't lose like their liquor license.
Right.
Kind of
Gotcha.
thing. Yeah.
But just reprimanded.
Yeah. They're outside, so they're still. It's like they found the loophole.
Irresponsible.
Favorite season is summer, and the reason I say that is summer wedding season literally destroys me every.
I like the idea of you guys being like, no, let's just watch his beautiful face.
We're only going to talk about your physicality.
Such a sexy tux. $49 tux, folks.
I'm mega rusty.
Yeah?
Because I just haven't done it since I canceled my open mic, which would have been like a couple months ago, but I wasn't even doing comedy there. I was hosting, but that's not.
Yeah. You're a little bit, you're like you're a serviceman for the show when you're doing like emceeing or just hosting it. You're not getting to just do your act. Right.
Jeremy's show was the last one I did that I liked. That would have been in the summer. So that wasn't, Jesus, it's been so long.
How did it feel for you? Like, were you like, what was the balance like between, maybe there's some stuff you want to talk about that's either in your notebook on your mind, and the balance of pulling stuff from your old act, so to speak, because, well, it's worked before, so you can have that, it's good.
The summer show?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, see, the thing is, I felt like what was more important than trying new jokes is maintaining all my old jokes, because I can always try the new jokes when everything clears up again. But because I don't need to polish those per se. It would be, there's a whole other benefit to that, but I did not want to lose the cadence and everything of my old stuff. So
that is interesting. You felt like you were doing maintenance on them. You're just
right.
Giving them the oil check.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Same. Last night I opened with a bit that I haven't done in 2 months, and closed with a bit that I've been doing for like 2 years now. But I was just like, I got to get that muscle memory down, and the pauses and the mannerisms but also be in the moment, and so it's not robotic.
I could see certainly getting up at a club, I'm sure you feel more of a, I do got to do a good job. You're not just okay, what are these ideas in my notebook?
Right.
You're this is a real, this is real work. So you feel more indebted to doing a good job.
Yeah. Especially as an MC, when I did the new material, I didn't even mean to. It just started coming out of my mouth, and then that's when my brain was like, "What are you doing, dude? You don't have a punchline."
That's really, what was the material about?
3D printed meat. Because I have a bit about how I'm optimistic about new technology. I'm just worried that there are people that aren't ready for it.
Yeah,
and so that bit always works. And because I've been self-driving cars, that's a cool thing. Or what if we could text 911? What if we could order an ambulance like we order an Uber? And then I'm just 3D printed meat. That's a cool thing that New Zealand's doing. And then I have no punchline.
But also that's what's great is that might be the natural connection.
Mm-hmm.
You just doing stand-up, you're probably your first joke got laughs. So you were just I have this thing sitting in my head and I might as well just say it. And it just started coming out, and it probably will be a natural to talk about it after that other bit. Once you maybe figure it out and have the more core punchline done.
Right. It's a matter. The connection is there. It's just a matter of bringing it to a conclusion, a satisfying conclusion to me and the audience. So,
Yes. Yeah. And you might watch something that Gary Goldman's working on, and in the process of working on it, it doesn't crush as hard as some people who are maybe hacking it up, but the stand-up's better because it's really original, and it's really it has material that stays with you. I don't know if that makes what I mean, right?
Oh, absolutely. No, I totally agree. Gary Goldman was a great example too, because I love him.
Yeah, I mean, Gary Goldman murders. That's not me being like, he just does well. I'm saying when he's working on stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right. No, when he was in Cleveland, he did 2 hours and 20 minutes. And
Are you serious?
Yeah, and I'd be willing to bet that maybe 20 minutes of that ends up in his next special.
Wow.
Dude, that's awesome, man. When was that? Was that before the Great Depression?
It was right before it dropped. It was a whole new hour. Because he was in Cleveland the year before and he did the stuff from that album. So he wasn't going to do the same material that he did like a year before. So it was all new, and you could see him like connecting dots while on stage between bits and making connections. Cause he would start a bit, and then you could see like he would get distracted by something that he said, and then he would go into that and then come back to, oh yeah, like I was saying, and then same thing would just keep happening until he would bring it full circle like 20 minutes later. And then that bit was done. That's
really interesting. I think that's like it's probably really cool because I'm sure in that 2 hours and 20 minutes it's not all worked out. So it's not all that like, perfected stand up where there are probably like, so to speak, lulls within it.
Oh, big time.
Because but it's awesome to watch a headliner that good because one, it reminds you, it's always nice to be reminded of the process, even from someone who has clearly, I think, mastered the art of stand-up. But two, just to like watch him still be able to win the audience at later stuff, even after maybe he's, roughly talking about some else that's not really getting laughs because it's not figured out yet.
Yeah, you could see people getting restless. Now, I'm a comedy nerd, so I'm loving watching the process, even though I'm not laughing at everything that he's saying.
He's at least talking about interesting things.
Oh yeah.
If it's not funny, it's interesting.
Right.
Totally. Yeah. I know what you mean. Like there's nothing like, to me, that's more interesting because, it's like watching a great comic be working on it. And I mean, doing a 2 hour, 20 minute set of stuff that I bet will be a fucking great hour.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing that when it's fully worked out. Yeah. He had like a bit about how Jesus was actually a Jew and nobody talks about that. Like, and it just gives that fresh perspective on something that, when you think of Jesus, you think Christianity. Well, actually, here's the real story behind that and why you're wrong. Yeah. And let me make
He's right about that too. That's a true thing. Like he's a practicing Jew.
Yeah.
He wasn't the first Christian.
Yeah. Right.
He's definitely, yeah. Oh,
and so you could feel people like, a few people in those Midwestern sensibilities being betrayed.
Interesting. That's very interesting. Where that's something that I hear that, and there's no amount of me that's like, ooh, taboo.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah. But to some people, and that's why I enjoyed watching it. Is just like I just felt like a fly on the wall.
Yeah,
that's cool. Definitely, I'm sure, a bit that if you did that in New York, there wouldn't be any amount of like, like
right. I just couldn't imagine New York. Yeah, right. It's just like, we know this. What's your point? This is my thing now.
Can I tell you? I don't know if this is interesting, but can I tell you? $49 tuxedo, and if you watch a special, I ended up changing into a white tuxedo for the part where I sing jazz. But I've already decided, and you guys can get this scoop here, David and Steve. The next hour I record, you know what I'm going to wear for it? It's not a joke. I swear to God, I'm going to record stand-up. I'm going to wear an Elvis Presley jumpsuit for the stand-up.
Does that have any relevance?
No, but isn't that fucking awesome?
Set yourself apart. Oh, the Elvis guy that didn't do any Elvis jokes.
This is what I only do stand-up in a tuxedo now. Like if it's a paid show, and I that's it's a conscientious choice where I said I only, you know what, people paid money. I can try hard enough to wear something uncomfortable, and it makes the show 2% better. And that 2%, I'll try the extra 10 minutes of putting shit on for that 2%. But the Elvis jumpsuit, why I'm going to wear that? You know why? Because why not? why I'm recording an hour. I might as well. What, I'm going to do it in another plaid shirt? I got too many plaid shirts.
Yeah, this is my Sunday best.
It is better than plaid, I'll say that.
Yeah.
You're not George Lucas.
Wait. George Lucas or George Lopez?
Lucas. Because he's the one that wears the plaid. I know, it's like...
I'm like trying to make the connection.
Yeah.
I every Christmas I go to church with my family and I wear an even more absurd, like I wore these teal pants that I got from a thrift store and a yellow suit jacket and like a straw hat. And I was having people call me Louisiana Dave.
Dude, you got to wear that on stage, man.
Dude, I mean, yeah, I got this snazzy like Hugh Hefner-esque like Christmas jacket and bow tie and like, yeah, I love that. It
informs my core belief, which is that comics, I think we should commit more to being willing to look ridiculous on stage and not always just wear what was comfortable that day. I swear to God, I think we got to like bring back some of that throwback showbiz panache.
You know what's weird is I wore a suit once on stage.
How'd it feel?
And it was at an open mic. Would have been like 2014. It was like 2013 or 2014. And I was like, I bombed that day. I was very new. I had only been doing comedy like 2 years. And I was like, I bombed, and I was like, never again. And I haven't since. It's nothing to do with it, I'm sure.
Well, I've bombed in a tuxedo, and let me tell you, if you've bombed normally, nothing compares to bombing in a tux.
Right. Yeah.
So, especially at a bar show, because I wore it to a bar show.
Even better. As long as I feel as long as it doesn't distract from the material, I'll wear whatever.
I agree with that. Yeah, don't just wear a chicken suit just cause. But
yeah, there was a dude who wore a cockroach costume, and yeah, it was rough.
Just every show.
He for a little bit he did, and then no one ever saw him again.
Is that New York City?
No, this was in Cleveland.
Okay. I don't remember. Who was it?
In Akron, Orlando Wimbush.
Oh, I've never heard of him.
Yeah, exactly. He dressed up. He had these like one-liners about cockroaches, and they were like one-liners where you would set it up, and you're like, oh, here's the punchline, and that he's going to come up with, and then his like punchlines were not even predictably bad; they were just unpredictably bad.
When you wear a cockroach suit and you do cockroach jokes, it's just self-deprecating humor.
Yeah. As they prefer self-defecating humor.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I take it back. Next hour I record, I'm doing it in a cockroach suit. It's been decided.
And he's going to watch it and be like, hey,
what the hell, man? That is one where I'm like, all right, that's very creatively limiting.
Yeah. There's only so much you can do. And you can't just not do cockroach material if you're wearing that. Like you have to address it.
Talk about dating, or you can't just talk about just whatever's going on in your life when you have to explain why you're wearing a cockroach suit.
I identify as a cockroach. Cockroach in a man's body.
Dan used to wear flashy pants, and his jokes are great, but he fucking did himself a disservice by wearing those fucking pants all those times.
Yeah.
Waste of time.
One of your buddies, Dan?
Yeah, Dan Handelman. Yeah.
He's such a good joke writer. But
he's a really good comedian, but in his early days, he would wear these distracting pants. And it's like, dude, you don't need the pants. Lose the fucking pants.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, there's a comic in New York who, he wears a Hawaiian shirt every set. And because his first joke is, I just got off my shift at Trader Joe's. And, when it is that, I do feel a sense of like, well, now you always have to wear the Hawaiian shirt. Like, doesn't that suck? Like, so I would wear a tux, but I just want to be clear. It's not like I do it so that I can say the first joke is like, oh, I look like a waiter or whatever.
Yeah.
I just wear the tux for paid shows because it just kind of is like, oh, he's in a tux. But I don't have any jokes about it. Just because it's like, you don't want to be a guy who has to wear something to then have a joke about.
Right.
Like you're already fucking up as a comic when you can't just start talking about your day.
Right. Write yourself into a corner that way. It's like one additional elephant in the room.
Yeah. What if someone's like, hey man, you want to get up and you're just in a normal button down? What are you going to go? Oh, I can't. I'm not in a like
I have no normal button down jokes.
Yeah. I'm not used to doing stand up in a normal shirt.
You can't laugh at that.
Special thanks to Golden Ox Studio. You can find Golden Ox Studio for all your podcasting needs at goldenoxstudio.com. Hit up Jeremy. He is fantastic to work with, a professional. He makes podcasting easy. And if you've been kicking the tires on starting your own podcast, definitely give Golden Ox Studio a look. If you'd like to weigh in on today's topic, follow us on Twitter at YouCan'tLaughPod, or like us on Facebook at You Can't Laugh at That, and tell us how you did laugh at today's topic or how you didn't. This is all about the conversation, is what I'm saying. All right. Bye.